We want to take you now, actually, to Los Angeles, where California Governor Gavin Newsom is unveiling plans to redraw his state's U.S. congressional districts. And this is to favor Democratic candidates in an effort to win control of the House of Representatives in 2026. Let's listen in.
You had a United States senator that was thrown down to the ground in a federal building. Alex Padilla. J.D. Vance's name is Alex Padilla, not Jose Padilla. That's the Vice President of the United States. It's another museum not so far away from us. Talks about those 53 days. Some of you know what I'm referring to. Wake up, America. This is a serious moment. Wake up to what's going on. Wake up to the fear, the anxiety. Wake up to what's happening, not just here in Los Angeles, where we saw our streets militarized. We saw due process rights thrown out the window. You heard the word disappeared. I was with a 12-year-old boy born in Oxnard, California, whose mother and father were disappeared. 20 years going to the same packing facility every single day. He didn't even know how to get back into his own home, into his own house. Had no brothers and sisters. He has now disappeared in an attempt to find his parents. That's Trump's America. That's the moment we're living in. So these are sober times. And so I'm deeply grateful to all of you for standing up and for being here today. I'm grateful for all the elected officials that are here, members of Congress, not just our 2 U.S. senators, to members of the California legislature for having the courage of their convictions, for standing tall and standing firm, to recognize today is Liberation Day in the state of California. And as Senator Schiff said, Donald Trump, you have poked the bear, and we will punch back. Here's the good thing about California, folks. We're the size of 21 state populations combined. We're the 4th largest economy in the world. We're not a small, isolated state. I know they say don't mess with Texas. Well, don't mess with the great Golden State. And so we're here with our state of mind, with the clarity of our purpose and conviction, to recognize that we need to reconcile the world we're living in. We do have agency. We're not bystanders in this world. We can shape the future, and that's what we intend to do today. We're here because Donald Trump, on January 6th, tried to light democracy on fire, tried to wreck this country, tried to steal an election, as Alex just said, by trying to dial in for 11, almost 12,000 votes. And here we are, in open and plain sight, before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done. It's not good enough to just hold hands, have a candlelight vigil, and talk about the way the world should be. We have got to recognize the cards that have been dealt. And we have got to meet fire with fire. And we've got to be held to a higher level of accountability. So that's what this is about. It's not complicated. We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, find me 5 seats. We're doing it in reaction to that act. We're doing it mindful of our higher angels and better angels. We're doing it mindful that we want to model better behavior, as we've been doing for 15 years in the state of California with our independent redistricting commission. But we cannot unilaterally disarm. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district all across this country, not just in Texas, but in Missouri, where J.D. Vance went just a week ago, in Indiana, in places like Ohio, in places like Florida. We need to stand up, not just California. Other blue states need to stand up. We need to be firm in our resolve. We need to put back. So we're here in that light. And I'm grateful to have remarkable partners in the legislature. It's a tall task. We're asking them for 2/3 of a legislative consent. But this is the difference. This is the difference between what's happening in Texas and what's happening here in California. We didn't receive a phone call from the President of the United States to then quietly go in the back room and start drawing maps and legislatively try to jam them through against the consent of the people. We're doing precisely the opposite. We're working through a very transparent, temporary, and public process. We're putting the maps on the ballot, and we're giving the power to the people. This will be the first redistricting that's ever done that. That's the difference. We tried to raise the standards, and these guys are not playing by any set of rules. So this time requires us to act anew, not just think anew. And so I'm grateful to all of the remarkable leaders that have stepped up, this unifying effort here in the state of California. And we'll be asking for the people on November 4th, a special election coinciding with a lot of local municipal elections, to provide a temporary pathway for congressional maps. We will affirm our commitment to the state independent redistricting after the 2030 census, but we're asking the voters for their consent to do midterm redistricting in 2026, 2028, and 2030 for the congressional maps, to respond to what's happening in Texas, to respond what Trump is trying to excite. And we'll do so in a way that also affirms our desire as a state to level the playing field all across the United States. We believe in a national independent redistricting framework. And we believe that's the right goal and the right thing to pursue. And I will just state for the fact, Zoe Lofgren, who runs our California delegation, she authored the bill. Democrats unanimously supported that National Independent Redistricting Commission. Republicans were nowhere to be found. They want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides, because they know what Donald Trump knows. He's going to lose the midterms. He knows de facto his presidency ends in 17 months when Speaker Jeffries is back in office. He knows it. Why else would you try to rig the system? Why else would you make the phone call? He's a failed president. Who else sends ICE same time having a conversation like this? Someone who's weak. Someone who's broken. Someone whose weakness is masquerading as strength. The most unpopular president in modern history. An economy that's collapsing all around him. You saw the new wholesale prices going up almost a full percentage point today. Inflation is going up. Job creation is going down. He's trying to rewrite history, Smithsonian, censoring historical facts. And in the spirit of what Adam Schiff said, he's trying to put America in reverse on voting rights, civil rights, LGBTQ rights, on women's rights. He wants to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. That's what this is all about. It's about power, and I want to end on this. And we are about to give power back to the people. You have, on November 4th in California, you have the power to stand up to Trump. You have the power to declare that you support a system that is not rigged. You have the power on November 4th to stand up for people that are being bullied. You have the power to stand up for people that are being intimidated. You have the power to stand up to the rule of law. We're giving the people of this state the power to save democracy, not just in California, but all across the United States of America. I hope we are waking up to this reality. Wake up, America. Wake up to what Donald Trump is doing. Wake up to his assaults. Wake up to the assault on institutions and knowledge and history. Wake up to his war on science and public health. In his war against the American people. This is a guy who lays claim to want to get a Nobel Prize, sitting there and bending his knee to Mr. Putin. You have the power to straighten this out. And so I want to again just thank everybody for exercising not just their formal authority. Yes, that's what we're doing. but also sharing their moral authority at this moment. I want to thank everybody for being here today, for being here tomorrow, and most importantly, we're counting on all of you on November 4th to be there for each other to win this election and stand up for our democracy. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.
All right, there we have it. Listening there to Governor Gavin Newsom in California and Los Angeles there, talking about a plan to redraw the state's congressional districts and have it be decided in a statewide referendum. That move is in response, of course, to similar plans that we've seen being laid out in Republican-led states. The eventual goal, they say, is to control the U.S. House of Representatives in 2026. Plenty at stake in all of this. And CBS News White House and Politics Executive Director Fin Gómez joins us now. And Fin, I know you've been listening to all of this, all the speeches that led to this final one from Newsom. Can you walk us through exactly what this proposal looks like, though?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this rally, it really had the vibe of a political rally. But Newsom was flanked by top California officials, member of the state's Democratic congressional delegation. But he unveiled his efforts to establish a special election on his reciprocal redistricting plan, a direct counterpunch to Texas Republicans' efforts to carve out more GOP-friendly districts in their state ahead of next year's midterms. The move, he said, is about meeting partisan making with equal force and to push back against, quote, to push back and say, quote, we need to stand up. At this Los Angeles event, he also took aim at President Trump, saying, Donald Trump, you have poked the bear, and we have decided to punch back. I know they say don't mess with Texas, but don't mess with the great Golden State either. And so now Newsom and California Democrats they're seeing this redraw in Texas as a dangerous precedent. They are planning this counter move to redraw their own maps. And so California currently has 52 congressional seats. Democrats hold 43, Republicans hold 9. Newsom and the Democrats in the state believe they could flip several Republican-held states, potentially increasing their margin and countering these potential Republican gains elsewhere. So now the proposed maps, so essentially it now goes to the California legislature, where, as we're told, as soon as the end of this week, it could be as early as today or tomorrow, but the governor is looking to hold this special election in November, and they need to obtain voter approval to undo the constitutional amendments that created the nonpartisan Redistricting Commission, and a 2/3 majority vote in the California legislature, both House and Senate, is needed to hold the referendum. And speaking to some Democratic Californian party leaders, they are confident that they'll have the votes to push to get the referendum on the ballot in November. But look, this could be the key marquee election now, Nancy. There's been a lot of interest in the governor's races in New Jersey and also in Virginia, of course. But in this off year, this is now gearing up to be one of the most marquee votes come November, Nancy.
Yeah, Fin, I find this all fascinating because this all started in Texas, right? And how one thing led to another, and then it went to Illinois, and now we're talking about California at this point. Why is it important, do you think, that people should really care and understand about what's happening, even if they're not in California, Texas, or Illinois?
Because it's all about the midterms. This is, if you remember, Nancy, this began by a push by the president and his Republican allies to sort of stave off, historically, in the midterm election cycles, the party who controls the White House loses congressional seats. And to stave off that potential loss, there's been this push by the White House to redraw these seats and add some Republican-friendly seats in Republican-led states. Now, this, as you've seen, has led to a political domino effect. So Texas is happening. We did get word just a little while ago that it seems like the Texas Democrats who left the state may be easing off now that California is taking it over, and they may be coming back to the state. So we may be seeing that. But it's all because of the midterms. It's all because And so by adding the states in these potential congressional districts seats in Texas and now potentially in California, you could see other Democratic-led states like Illinois or potentially New York. But also there are Republican efforts as well in Florida, in Missouri, in other states like Indiana. So, to come this fall, there really could be quite a push to see more movement in these efforts to sort of, to even the scales. But I think all eyes in the political world are now looking at Newsom and his efforts in California to see how he can achieve what he said at this rally that he hopes to do.
All right, Fin Gómez, always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you very much for being with us.